SmashFactor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. Man, that is beyond long.
Look at this. He's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody from 105-degree El Paso, Texas. Thank you for joining us a little early. As you all know, I've been in the middle of an acquisition for my real career, and this was the time that we could get by tonight and get it all out. I'm with my co-host, as always, Bucks at BP Snow 11. JD's on the boards behind us, or behind the scenes. We are episode 76 of the SmashFactor, the quote-unquote British Open. Obviously, everybody calls it the Open for the most part, but British gets tossed in because of SEO value and stuff. But I'm sure it's not 105 there, but how are you? How was your week? How was your member guest? And how did the John Deere Classic treat you? As I don't think I've talked to you in almost a week now. We've been a little busy. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, it's been busy, man. It's hot here as well, but it's nice. John Deere sucked. My Sunday was just atrocious. I was through midday Saturday, and that's when I stopped following because it was member guest crunch time. I was winning the 1,500, the 333 or whatever on FanDuel. I was cashing some on DK, and then I looked yesterday afternoon and boop, all gone. But that's how it goes. Sunday was a crusher. As far as my weekend, it was good. I played in the Ocean City member guest. I play in it every year. Me and my partner made 24 birdies in our 45 holes that we played. And so we just crushed. It was good. We won every match, barely won every match, but we won every match, made to the shootout. It was a blast, man. They do it right. It's a lot of fun to get out there and kind of let loose and play golf and hang out with the boys. So everything's good. How about you, man?
I'm exhausted, as you mentioned. A lot of long nights when you're closing an acquisition, but got the deal done a little while ago, so we get to go out tonight and celebrate and have a little company dinner, which is why I asked you to come on early.
Yeah.
It was great. I mean, I hit Fratelli.
Yeah, boy.
So, back-to-back outright winners, gives us 6 on the year, 7 first-round leaders. I got him at 80-1, so was one of the better numbers in the market. I saw a lot of 66s and 70s out there, so that was always good. And with me, I mean, I was at one point Sunday, I was up about 40,000, I think. And by the end, and I stopped watching because we were in crunch time work-wise, not a member guest, but just blew up. My back nine, my guys, like the main 5 I was watching shot like 1 under total, while the rest of the people were shooting like 4 under each. So it was just brutal. I finished down about, I think, 30-40% overall. My main slate wasn't bad. Sunday showdown was horrible, but I did win a Saturday showdown to kind of offset some of that. I was free rolling into Sunday on showdown. I saw a ton of Gups Corner logos up on the showdown boards Sunday, so that was good because I know the community took a little bit of a blow. Obviously, Kevin Toy was my pick to win in the Gups Final Thoughts. He obviously didn't make the cut, so that hurt. But that's why having the portfolio and diversity we have works out, and being on Fratelli got us. Not only that, I haven't graded all my matchups yet because I'm behind, but I had someone DM me in Slack and say that I went like 6-1 on the weekend, and my parlay hit Friday, even though one of the 3 balls got tied. So sounds like we had a really good weekend. I know the sportsbook account has a lot more money than it did Wednesday, so I know it's at least good there. DK could have been better, but now we're at a major, some big pots. We'll get to that in a little bit. And final major of the year. Looking forward to it. Actually got the deal done here a little earlier than expected, so I'm going to fly home tomorrow night instead of Wednesday. give me a little time to prep on the plane, and we'll hopefully full go Wednesday. We are going to go a little early. I'll get to that in a little bit Wednesday night because of the start time of the British Open. I don't have I'll get the listener league pulled up while you do the course preview in a second. But first, sponsors and affiliates, Thrive Fantasy app, use the code GUP, get $10 free with your first $20. It's a real $10. So you don't have to do rollovers or bonuses. Or you put $20 in, you get $10, you go play. You win, you can pull it out. That's good now. They do have PGA content, and obviously they're going to have tons of football that we'll be covering. We'll have some type of content and section for the football Thrive part of that. New product, a little bit different, mixed to DFS in a sense, but more prop related, which will benefit our community because we focus a lot on the betting and the prop side anyways. That once we get to football, it'll be great. And if they do the fall swing, there'll be a good time to test that out. But they'll have it this week for the British Open, so that's exciting. Fanshare Sports, use 20% off or get 20% off when you use the code GUP. Get the Pro Advantage, one of the top ownership websites in the industry, and they also have added a ton of new content as well as a new upgraded website in the last 2 months. Go check them out. Fantasy National Golf Club, as always, is our kind of founding affiliate. FantasyNational.com/GUP gets you 20% off your next subscription. All of these can be found on our website. We have an affiliate link up top in the header. Takes you straight here. You can get all the links there, so you don't have to write all that down. Most importantly, this week, we will be giving away a lot of free money / contest entries to our football contest Wednesday night on the E9. How you get entered? Rate and review us on iTunes. I said it last week. One of the winners will guaranteed be from someone that gives us a review. So give us a 5-star rating, an actual review on iTunes, and you get 2 entries. Instagram, Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Twitch. You do all those, you have 6 entries into the drawing for tomorrow night, or Wednesday night, sorry. My days are all mixed up. I've been working nonstop. The review part of iTunes helps us a ton. Go do that. That gets you into probably the easiest way to win at least $150 free into a contest, as I'm going to pick one from there. And not many people go through the process of actually doing the review, although we do have quite a bit, but we're actually climbing up the charts. We're making a pretty good charge this year, and that helps us. When you guys download that, rate and review it, it helps us a lot. Also, I hadn't told JB this yet, but we're going to go ahead and continue the U.S. Open free shipping for this last week at the final major. I don't even think we have 50 shirts left, so we're almost sold out. Go in now, use the code LASTCHANCE, and you get free shipping anywhere in the world. And lastly, I can't go into too much detail. Hopefully next week we'll have everything ironed out, but we have closed on an affiliation deal with a football kind of stat provider that's going to be our affiliate for the football season, so kind of our Fantasy National for football. I'm excited to announce that next week. We'll have more details on it, as we start full press on football after the Open. We'll still covering golf, but we're going to start doing our preseason content, get our pod fired up, do a couple of preseason pods with some guests. We got a lot of exciting things coming out for football. Looking forward to it. But without further ado, we're all here for one reason, the final major of the season. The British Open at Portrush. Bucks, no one does it better. Talk us through probably the most important thing this week, which is going to be the course that no one knows, quote unquote, and the weather. So let's hear it.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Gup. Correct. There is very little actual tournament history here, which in my opinion makes it even more important to dig a little deeper and get some knowledge about the course, how it's going to play, how it's going to be set up, because it's not like we get to see this every year. We don't get to see what the average winning score is, what the average cut line is going to be. And so while it is correct that there's very little information out there, digging deeper to listen to, and this is what I did this week in the last couple weeks, listen to 15 different podcasts with the head groundskeeper at Royal Portrush, the head of the RNA that has been at Portrush for the last 2 months, the head of the Open Tournament Committee at Portrush, Royal Portrush. There have been tons and tons of podcasts and videos and Northern Ireland television spots about with having these people on talking about the course, talking about the preparation, what it's going to take to get it right. And then ideally, the groundskeeper talks a lot about how he ideally wants the course to play. All of that is really, really important to, and even more so than most weeks, because you don't know how it's going to play year after year. So it's important to at least get a little bit of an advantage trying to understand how the ball is going to react on the fairway. How important is accuracy versus distance? How important is it to actually hit greens, or can you miss a green and still have a shot? I mean, those seem like very trivial differences, but at a major championship, it brings a whole nother group of players if you're relying more on accuracy or relying more heavily on iron play. And so I think it's really important this week to read the breakdown to get a little bit of insight on how the course is going to be set up. It is Royal Portrush, 7,344 yards, par 71. Last year they played Carnoustie at 7,400 yards. The difference is last year Carnoustie was going through a major heat wave, and we saw guys in the practice rounds hitting it over 400 yards off the tee. And so you saw a massive amount of irons being hit off these tee boxes just to try to keep it in play. Portrush is going to play a little differently this year. It is a bit greener. We are expecting rain and wind a few of the days. And so while it's still playing a bit firm, it is going to be playing softer than Carnoustie, which in my opinion, and what the goal of the grounds crew at Royal Portrush has been, is to force players into hitting more drivers than normal at a British Open venue. And so we're going to see quite a few holes where driver has to be hit to get the best angle into these greens. Obviously, it's a British Open. There's going to be holes. And Royal Portrush is a great golf course because you have such a wide variety of hole yardages. So you're going to have players hit irons off some of these tees. But you will see more drivers be hit at Royal Portrush than Carnoustie last year for sure. In my opinion, not only are you having to hit driver, but accuracy is going to be very important. If you take a look at the course and you listen to some of these podcasts and read what I wrote in the breakdown, they are making it very penal once you get a little bit off the fairway, to a point where some of this fescue is knee high and you are not going to be able to advance the ball very far. So understanding that, not only do you want a guy that can hit the driver well and ideally find the fairway, but the way that they've built these greens, and in my opinion, one of the great things about this golf course is on the majority of the shorter golf holes, you'll see a smaller green. On some of the longer holes that require a longer iron, a mid iron, you're seeing a little bit more generous greens. With that being said, though, it's a lot like a lot of UK venues where you have areas you have to hit the ball into, almost like Augusta. You have these sections of greens you have to hit, or you are just going to have the most ridiculously undulating putts that two putting would be a miracle. And so I think that iron play is going to be a key. And then once you get off the greens, one of the things that the greenskeeper did and the grounds crew did is they've mown the green surrounds very, very tight. If you know anything about golf course maintenance, typically you mow every day and this and that, and you'll do your overseeding, you'll throw some sand out there every now and then, a couple times a year. What they've been doing is layering sand every other week and laying that down, top dressing it with sand every other week. And then also while they do that, they overseed it with fescue. And what that does is it thickens up the turf and creates a firmer base layer. And so while, yes, the course is very green, it's still going to be playing fairly firm. And what that allows them to do is mow it tighter around the greens. And so you're going to see a lot of balls come back at players if they don't get it all the way up to the hole or not. But overall, this golf course is fantastic. I highly recommend reading the breakdown. As I mentioned it, there are such a wide variety of golf holes. You are literally going to be hitting everything from like a 4-iron into some of these greens to a sand wedge into some of these greens. There's drivable par 4s, there's reachable par 5s, there's 240-yard par 3. So you really do have a pretty awesome mix. As far as the course, what they've done over the last couple of years, again, read the breakdown, but they redid all 58 bunkers. They actually took sand out of the bunkers to make them play deeper, play them a little more difficult. They built 2 new golf holes to accommodate the media, the spectators, the RNA, everything. So there's a lot been going on the last few years. This is the first time since 1951 that the British Open's been played in Northern Ireland, in Ireland. So this is a pretty historic event, and I am super pumped for everybody to see this golf course. I would highly recommend looking at the breakdown to see some of the hole-by-holes and some of the pictures because it's going to look completely different with all of the grandstands. And I think, in my opinion, just from some of the pictures I've seen, I think that some of the beauty is lost with all of the grandstands that you see. Like, this course is phenomenal. It looks amazing. So I'm excited for it. I'm ready. It's going to be awesome. Mute.
Sorry. Yep. I do that when you do that one. For new viewers or new listeners, I know we got a lot of good following last week and it continues to roll. Probably a tad longer podcast, but maybe not. We're kind of going to roll through it, but that breakdown part's important. Normally we keep it kind of short, but being very important this week, we obviously want to go into detail there. Weather concerns, I don't want to waste a lot of time on it because it truly is something that I won't even begin to gauge until tomorrow night. It just changes too much out there. Last year at the Open, I think my heat maps kind of became, industry, not famous, but a lot of people loved them. And the templates are built, they're ready to go. So if the wind becomes so significant that we see some major potential weight advantages, I will load the heat maps up and the community will get them Wednesday, midday, and I'll probably update as I can. Right now, I'm seeing potential rain, 30-40% each day, some high spots. Wind right now really doesn't look too terrible. What are you seeing weather-wise?
Yeah, it's interesting, and this is another thing that I picked up from listening to a lot of these different podcasts is the wind can change at the drop of a hat here.
Correct.
We're going to see, when you look at the weather right now, you're seeing like 15-mile-an-hour winds in Portrush, but it is on the Causeway Coast, like directly on the coast. The winds will shift and pick up. And so I firmly expect that Thursday, Friday, and I think part of Saturday, as these storm systems roll in, that the wind will pick up and you'll see gusts in the 30-mile-an-hour range. You're looking at sustained winds of at least 15 mile an hour, but I mean, that's the tough thing about playing the British Open, the Open, especially here on the Causeway Coast. It's going to change 10 times plus during the round. I mean, you're going to have 5-mile-an-hour winds, 30-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to be southerly, westerly, northerly. I mean, it's going to change. And so I think it's definitely going to play a factor. I mean, any British Open golf course, anyone, the winning score is determined by the weather, for sure. If the weather is perfect playing conditions, they're going to eat this course up like most every other course. But it's going to be rainy, it's going to be windy, and it's going to be difficult at times, especially as they get past the first couple holes, which are historically the easier holes.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see a major – as of yet, it's going to be a factor. The biggest deal I'm going to be looking at is I have 2 kind of models going as far as if it looks like it's going to be easy, you're talking about 11, 12, 14 under kind of winning score. pretty good win range. No matter the waves, you're looking at maybe a 5 to 7 type winning score, and that's a different player type for me. And I don't really care about the waves as much because I don't think you're going to get a clear.
There's not a big advantage.
Right. Yeah. There may be by Thursday. Obviously, that's what E9 is going to be important for this week, Wednesday night. But I'm more trying to judge what kind of guys will come into play with tougher conditions as opposed to, a 14, 15 under type deal. Right now, I'm leaning more towards 7, 8 under type winning score, not the 14. So that's kind of what the model I'm at. But, my little notes outside of what you said, I think hitting the fairway is going to be key. I think guys with great short games, and then I'm obviously going to give guys that are a traditional link type player that does well. It doesn't necessarily mean a Euro. There are guys that aren't Euros that are good links type players. Although Euro guys will obviously have an advantage at times. That's kind of where I'm at, right now, and it'll grow as we get closer and closer to tee off. Maybe did send me our winner this week. So the Listener League winner was Kine, 1997, 603 points, which was massive this week. He had Neiman, Morka, Taylor, Sam Ryder, Wagner, and Sevison. So pretty solid lineup by him. Good green screens all the way around, especially Showdown this week. We'll give away our U.S. Open shirt this week to the winner of the Listener League, which is already up. I posted it early because salary's out, so you can go find that on the page, or if you're in Slack, it's on the UC announcements tab. What are the key stats you're looking at this week? You kind of hit on a little in there, but what was your focus?
Yeah, for me, I am going to be looking at total driving. So that's a mix of driving accuracy and distance combined. So the total rank between both added up, that kind of thing. I am leaning towards accuracy over distance right now. I still think that a lot of players are going to hit driver. I do think, obviously, the guys like Rory that hit their driver long and fairly accurately have an advantage, obviously. But total driving is going to be a big one. Ball striking, which is a mix of total driving and greens and regulation. I do think, though, that you're right. I think with the weather, with the wind, that we are going to see a lot of greens being missed. I think you're always going to have that guy that goes bananas out there and hits 15, 16 greens and has a hell of a day. But overall, I think there's going to be more greens missed this week than normal because of the weather conditions. Even if the wind is minimal, playing in damp conditions, wet conditions, rain is mentally a grind. And so I expect a lot of players to miss these greens. I think that the short game and putting inside of like 10, 15 feet is going to be really, really important this week.
I agree. Ball striking was big for me. Approach, as always. Bogey avoidance, British Open, that's pretty common. Fairways game was something that you mentioned that I was big on this week. I mentioned around the green earlier that was, I want guys that can get up and down. In general, obviously greens and red gain are going to be huge, but you're right. Especially if the wind gets going, hitting the greens is going to be a premium, but
yeah,
I think being in the fairway is going to be more important because it gives you a better chance to hit the green. Obviously, that happens every week, but this week's going to be even more important. That's kind of where I'm leaning. I will look at some total driving stuff as I get a little closer to the Wednesday lock, as I see how the wind's going to play out and everything. This week we have about 160 guys in the field. They did add the final guys. I think when I was on my way from the office here to the hotel. Sabatini was 7,400, Fratelli 6,900, Beef 6,800, Harmon 6,700, Hebert 6,500, and Bertasio, I don't know how to say that, Nino Bertasio, 6,100. So those guys will get added into the deep dive and stuff that comes out tomorrow night for me, and we'll obviously they're not going to be including much of this because they just got added to DK, but we'll have some info on them as well. There is no cut. It is top 70 in ties, but there's no MDF this week. So it's just everybody that makes it goes through. as far as contest selection, there's about 50 or 60 spots left in the Fantasy Golf World Championship. A lot of them are up for grabs this week. Some big major contests this week. So I know you're pretty locked in. We're on similar path, but for our audience, they see all these prizes, and so how do they not get googly eyed and just start clicking, and they have to maintain, like, where are you focusing? Not you a little bit, but also just in general for the guys that are playing, like guys, I'm gonna throw one in the $100, and I'm like, you can do that, but that's not good plus EV in my eyes. That's not what we preach, because I just don't know if that's wise, but there's obviously you could do it, but there's a lot of great value out there, depending on the contest you want to get most leverage. What's your advice this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. DraftKings, in my opinion, has done a good job at least for the majors, kind of kicking it up a notch and adding some variety. So not only do you have like the 555, but you have a 333 max, which is awesome. You have the $100, you have the Millie, obviously, which is a terrible, terrible tournament, but it's a lottery. It's a lottery ticket, so you got to play it. If you have 3 lineups you built this week, you better have them in that Millie just in case. But you also have, it doesn't matter what kind of like your bankroll is for the week. You have a lot of like 3 entry max events that have really sizable payouts, like the $75 3 entry max. Then you have a bunch of single entries. You have a $200 single entry with a $100K prize pool, which is awesome. And then you have like a $33 3 max and a $10 3 max. There's a lot of really cool things this week on DraftKings. So in my opinion, what I think the best bet is, and then you have like the $3,000 single entry, or not single entry, but you have the 3180 or whatever on DK, which is awesome. In my opinion, and this is the route I'm taking this week, I'm going to have 3 lineups, and I'm going to throw them in a lot of the 3 max events, and then I'm going to throw them into the 555 and the Millie, obviously. I'm sure I'll throw it in like the $5 or something like that as well, but the 333 3 max is a really, really good event, in my opinion. And then when you go over to FanDuel sucks. They missed the boat again. They have the 555 monster, only 400 people in it, and then you have the 1500 with 16 total people allowed. It's just stupid. That doesn't mean I'm not playing in it, but I think they've missed the boat for sure. So kudos to DK for kind of stepping it up and recognizing this is a big week. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, similar. I think it's wise. Obviously, the community has an advantage because we'll go into contest detail and kind of show the good, bad, and ugly as far as what contests give you the best chance. And we talk through it in Slack so much about, guys will say, hey, I'm playing $100. What's my best deal? And we may go, well, the 33 single, I always like to get as much leverage on the field or be even with the build the best I can. I certainly don't mind, let's say like the 555, I may not max it and I may just put 3 in there, but I feel my skill set and knowledge gives me, as much chance as you. And you can apply that same way for some of the lower contests. If you want to get in the $100 and you want to put 5 in there, that may be a good strategy depending on if you're my biggest deal is don't get too cute and don't get out of your comfort zone. So if you're used to building 40 lineups in the $5 and now you want to go play the $200 single, that's a totally different ball game. So you can do it, but you need to research how those games play out. It's not the same mentality, right? Certainly up for trying those new things if you want to, but I'm going to stick to a normal strategy. I am going to leave some bankroll open because I think they'll have some pretty good showdown contests. And now once we see how the course is playing and we get to see it live, I feel the advantage, especially in our community for some of the stuff we produce, gives us an advantage there. So I'm going to save some bankroll for showdown just for sure. As always, here in the last couple of weeks, we integrated FanDuel completely into our model rankings, all that stuff. And we have a heat map kind of showing you the best guys. When you look at a conversion from FanDuel to DraftKings, the best value guys and the worst value guys when you're looking at FanDuel pricing. So that's a neat add-on. The community's kind of loved it. I'm not as big of a FanDuel player as some, but we did have the request there, so that's been added. So just that before you get into our Dirty Dozen, we reference DraftKings, everything in here, but we do have a cross-reference now in the models that you can take a look at if you join the community. So let's get into the Dirty Dozen. If you're new, we do 4 sets of 3 picks, 9K and above, 7,600 to 8,900, 7,500 or less. And then the last tier is a flop, a fade, a sleeper. The flop is anybody we think is just going to suck. Flop, right? That's what it is. Fade or not return value. May not suck, but may, if he's predicted to win and we think he's going to finish 30th, that's a flop. Fade is someone you're fading because of ownership, course setup, recent form, whatever. It could be a good guy, good play. You're just choosing to fade him. Sleeper, $6,900 or less. Bucks, kick us off with your 3 picks, 9K and above.
Yeah, man. So this is one of the easier weeks for me because I think there's a clear number 1 this week, not even close, and that's Rory McIlroy. Shot 61 as a 16-year-old here. Obviously, it was before the course was changed. But there are only a handful of players in this field that have ever played this golf course more than Rory. And so not only does he have course history here, not only is he familiar with the changes, he's played here a ton, but he has insane tournament history with 4 straight top 5s here at the British Open. And he's coming in hot. So Rory McIlroy is my clear favorite this week. I will have him 100% owned in every contest I play in. My next favorite guy above 9K is Bryson DeChambeau. I think that when you look at not only his stats this year on the PGA Tour, but then look at his Euro stats. His Euro stats on the European Tour, he's number 1 in scoring average on the European Tour this year with 14 rounds averaging 68. And so I love Bryson. He's coming in hot. He has solid tournament history. Obviously, the course changes, so it's tough to kind of roll that into play. But either way, I love Bryson this week. And then lastly, and I'll give 2 real quick, I love Justin Rose this week as well. Love him. With that being said, though, I also have to do a 3 tie with Tiger Woods. I think that Tiger will contend again this week. I think that his game sets up really, really well for this course. Not only has he been driving the ball way better this year, but his iron play has been phenomenal. And I believe that you're going to need that iron play here and greenside imagination, which Tiger has more than anybody on the planet. I love Tiger to contend this week as well. What about you?
Yeah, very similar. I love Rose as well. Cantley's going to be, potential. I'm interested to see how the ownership shakes out with him. Obviously, I have a bet on him from December to win this, so that gives me a little, hedging ability there if I wanted to not play him in DK. I really think because the next range we get into is going to be the hot spot for DK that we're going to have.
Yeah.
Up here, I'm going to let ownership drive a lot because I love Rory. He's number 1 in my model as well. I'm interested to see how that shakes out with him being the highest priced, and there's so much value underneath him. And my rule with DJ is always in play here. If he's 15% or less, I'm playing him. It's just automatic.
I think he'll be 15% or under.
I think he's probably out. I think he's down to at some spots 16-1 betting, which is just crazy. You couldn't dream of getting a 16-1 DJ, a year ago. But
and FYI, I was telling you this earlier. Graham McDowell played a practice round, not a full practice round, but was playing with DJ the other day. And they have a video on it on the Open YouTube. But McDowell was just saying he was giving DJ his ideal target lines, and DJ was just crushing, automatic. And DJ seemed to really like the layout of the golf course. So I think DJ's a solid play.
I do too. And he's number one in my stat model. He's 10 overall, mainly because recent form has been kind of shaky for him, not for the average player. But and then I agree with you. I'm really interested to see the Tiger. I mean, is he going to go under the radar? People will talk about his back, and it's going to be a little cooler. And can he get loose? I know Tee Times came out. I haven't got time to analyze it. JB, if you know it off the top of your head or can get me, I'm interested to see if he goes out early Thursday. I prefer him be like a PM AM because I think get warm, have a good round, and get some rest, get up early, get that out Friday. But I just don't know where people are going to be on him. 10-2's, just tremendous value. He's number 3 overall for me right now. Version 1 rankings, obviously, we'll update them as I do for every major. But that's where I'm at. I think that DJ Rory Tiger right there is going to be ownership deal for me. I kind of think Rose is going to go under the radar ish. Like he did a little bit, and if he does,
Tiger's later.
Yeah, I like that. Then I wouldn't have liked it if he was going to go out early Thursday. If he gets off to a bad start, whatever.
Tiger's going off at 10 a.m.
on their time. Our time. Okay. So I like. Okay, yeah, I like that. So that's where I'm at. Rory, DJ, depending on ownership. Rose and Cantley are right there, and then Tiger's kind of 3T for me as well. I'll kick off 7,600 to 8,900. I think this area is going to just be, probably decide your DK and stuff like that. It's just loaded from the whole range is pretty much. But definitely the 8,000 is just you can go with so many different guys that it's going to spread out ownership, which will be nice. So I really think you just grind down to who you think is going to play well. You don't have to worry about ownership here because so many great guys here. No one's just going to get overtaught. Yeah. I'm going to keep it short because I know we want to roll through this, and I obviously have to get off here in a little bit. But it's hard. I like a lot. I love Casey. He's kind of my right on the bubble. I'm interested to see where he comes in ownership-wise, but I like Casey a lot. But the 3 I went with was Adam Scott, Matsu, and Stenson. I know I'm going to be heavy on Matsu. I don't care how it all shakes out. I'm in. And Stenson as well because we just know his history here, and he's coming in pretty good form. Those 2 I'm locked in on, Stenson and Matsu, and then the other I kind of I like Scott a lot and I like Casey a lot. So those kind of 4. Where are you at in this range?
Yeah, I love Stenson. He is going to be probably my second highest owned guy besides Rory. Actually, I'll probably be 100% on both of them, to be honest with you. So I love Stenson this week. I love Paul Casey this week. Been really
let me interrupt you. So if you were doing 40 lineups just for the average guy out there that's not doing a 3 max, not average money wise, so don't take it that way, people. I'm talking about a guy that's going to throw 40 in a bunch of lineups. What would your Rory and Stenson ownership be? Because I don't want people thinking you'd be 100% on 40. So where would you be?
I'd be 70% as a core for them, which is high.
Okay. That's
super high, but still, I'd probably be right around that 70% mark. And then have 30% of lineups be kind of hedge lineups off that.
If you're new to Bucks and I, we both build tight core. So we're not – I don't want to say we're all in guys, but when our core hits, we hit. And we went – but we bankroll throughout the year as such to know we're only going to hit every so many weeks. Yeah. But when we do, it sets us up for the next half year or whatever or longer. But we don't spread out a lot, and that's why – but it doesn't mean it's bad. You can spread out. You just have to be conscious of how you're doing it. Go ahead, finish out.
Well, so that's a great point. I mean, we each have our bankroll management, which is super important, especially a week like this where it's easy to get sucked into so many contests. But you're absolutely right. Like last fall, I had 4 winning weeks the entire fall season in golf and NFL. And of those 4 weeks – 3 of them were over 5 figures. 1 was over 75,000, and the other was over 240,000 for the week. And so I'm not going to hit the majority of weeks. Nobody is a DFS. It's not science. But when you hit and your core hits, your tight core, you can hit really, really big. But yeah, Stenson's going to be that guy for me. I love Paul Casey. He's just solid all around. So really great driver of the golf ball, really great iron player, accurate off the tee. He's not going to make a ton of mistakes. And if his putter gets hot, he can win the whole thing for sure. The last guy, and we'll talk about most of these guys on Slack in the E9 because everybody's kind of in play here. I really like McDowell. I actually like Sergio this week. I know he's been playing like garbage, but I think he can be a sleeper pick in this range. But Webb Simpson, I really like Webb Simpson this week. He played great at the U.S. Open. His last couple events, he's been playing great. But when you think of a guy that is accurate off the tee, solid iron player, good putter, Webb's that guy. And he's had some success at the Open. And like I said, he's coming in with a really, really solid recent form.
Yep. I like all that. I do think my approach this week, and kind of what I'll talk about in final thoughts in E9, is I'm gonna lock in on a couple of low-owned sleeper kind of guys and just take my chance there and build around my core this week. I'm not gonna try to pick 10 guys and hope one hits. I'm just gonna commit to myself come Wednesday, the 2 or 3 I want to take chances on. If they hit and my core is like I think it'll be, then Katie bar the door type of deal. But if they don't, I gotta live with that, right? I mean, but I'm not. Because it's such a volatile tournament already, I don't want to get into the game of chasing 10 or 12 sleepers and have to factor in the win and all that. I'm just going to take all the elements in, and I'm probably only building 3 to 5 lineups as well. If I was building 20, I'd have a couple of guys that are just lower under the radar type guys, lock them in way higher than I normally would, 20, 30% for a sleeper when normally I'd be 10, 15, and just run with it this week. With that, won't roll us right into 7,500 or less, and then I'll go.
Yeah, so 7,500 or less. I'm going to skip down a bit, and I'm going to start with Keegan Bradley. Keegan's a guy that when I think about total driving, there's a few guys that automatically pop into mind. Gary Woodland's one of them. Keegan's another one. Really great driver of the golf ball. Really great iron player. Obviously, it comes down to his flat stick and his short game. But I do think that he has the game to play this golf course and to give him a really solid chance. Last year, he didn't play great, but he has 2 top 20s in his last 5 years at the British Open. So he has the game. He likes to fight that ball down. I like Keegan. Next guy is going to be Jorge Campillo. He's primarily a Euro Tour guy, but when you look at his Euro Tour stats, he is top 20 in scoring average, top 20 in birdies, top 20 in bogey avoidance, really great par 4, par 5 scorer. And then when you look at his finishes, he has 6 or 7 top 10s this year out of 15 events. So he's been playing well. And he's obviously familiar with this style of golf course. So I really like Campillo at 6,900. And then the last guy, and I would assume that you agree with me, but I think that 6,900 for Neiman is the free space of the week. I have no idea. I mean, I get pricing came out early, but good Lord, 6,900 for Neiman, the way he's been playing, I will be 100%. If I had 40 lineups, I'd still be 85% Neiman, probably.
Yeah, so I saved him because he fell into our sleeper category, but Neiman will be, if not my highest, top 2 or 3 highest owned, without a doubt. It's not even close. Ball flight, the way he's never played the British, which I know that's probably tough for some people, which is good. I want people to be off him so much that I'm just way overweight. But it probably without a win, the best form coming in. Other than guys that have won the last 6 weeks, he's played the most consistent, best golf out there. Not getting a win. 2 top 5s. He's playing great. He's putting good. He's striking the ball as good as anybody. Definitely love Neiman as my sleeper. My 3 in this range, and I mentioned to the community that my initial rankings, I don't factor in anything for Euro manually. And so it's just raw rankings. And then tonight and tomorrow, what I come out with, I deep dive in. I started last night working on it, and I kind of ranked the Euros in a sense the best we can. We all have the same information we can get access to. It's not much, but we kind of got to go by our eyes. I have watched a lot of Euro in the last 6 weeks, more than I normally do, and have been betting a little bit. I had RCB last week, so we're close there. but I like him. I like RCB this week. He's, I don't remember what his price was, 100%. Being in a hotel kind of sucks when trying to find stuff, but I like RCB this week. I think he's playing great.
I like it too.
Last 2 weeks, he's had really good showings, almost been in it both weeks. Another guy I like has been in it, and he played great this week, is EBR. Eric Van Ruin, I love him. I think because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I have these guys on my team. I can't find it, but he played well at the U.S. Open, did he not? When he came over here?
I will tell you.
If he did, yeah. I was trying to find my Euro tab, but I like EVR this week.
43rd at the U.S. Open, 20th at the RBC Canadian.
Yeah, and when 43rd didn't sound great, but for what it was, and some of the big guys that just didn't do a thing. I like that he played in the field with some of these same guys and wasn't really. I mean, he made the cut. He's good to go, and at his price, if he makes the cut, I love it. We'll probably get some publicity in the industry, so I'll watch that. I know a lot of the big guys love him. Wiley and Baroff are two of our good buddies, and they know Euro better than most anybody.
Yeah.
Adon 7X on Twitter, great Euro guy. He has good opinions there as well. So I lean on them. I listen to their pod as well. Talk to them. Side messages aplenty.
And if you haven't checked it out, Hump Bumgardner.
Yep.
Did do his podcast this week with Ben Coley, so that's going to be a good one to listen to.
And our partner Tambo and Kenny Kim will have Ben Coley on as well tonight.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Perfect. Yeah, so check their pod out as always. They have a special promo for Gup's Corner we'll get into a little later on their pod, so if you want to check that out. Benny On was my last guy, and I think he'll go under the radar. But so here's a guy that depends on the type of tournament. If this is a 6, 7, 8 under, I like him a lot because his putting isn't as big of a weakness. I think he's got one of the best. He's just great around the green, right?
Yeah.
Good ball striker, not too crazy off the tee. He's not the best, but he's not too crazy. And at 7,000, I don't mind having a decent share of him if he's going to kind of go on the radar. He's also had a T17, T16, T13. Didn't miss the cut at the Travelers, but the U.S. Open did well. Our, Rocket Mortgage did well, and the Memorial did well. He's played the last 5 British Opens for sure. That's what's as far as I went back. He's got 2 missed cuts. Liverpool, he got a T26. Troon, he got a T59. Last year got a T51. So I like that he's got open experience. I just like him all the way around. He's in the right price point for me. If he was like 78, 7,900, maybe not, but I love it this week. Bucks, give me your flop, fade, and sleeper.
Yeah, for me, I've been thinking about this a lot. I think my fade and my flop, my fade's going to be Jordan Spieth. Flop's going to be Justin Thomas. And the only reason I say that, because I think Justin Thomas can play well, obviously. And I think Spieth could play well. But Spieth has been playing so bad recently but everybody's going to see his course history, his tournament history here at the Open, and obviously gravitate towards him. I just don't see Spieth kind of playing well. Same with Justin Thomas.
I think it hurts with Spieth this week, and I think they're dead nuts on the rough. And if he can't keep it in play, he's gonna struggle.
Yeah. So Spieth and Thomas has been getting talked up by freaking everybody. He's my fade this week. Yep. He's going to be my fade. And then my guy at 65 or under, there's actually a lot of really solid players down here. I mean, you have our boy Redmond. You have Nate Lashley down here. But the one guy from a Euro perspective, because I'll throw out some Euro stuff, I do like Oliver Wilson. $6,400. He has 4 top 25s in the Euro Tour in his last 6 events, including a few top 10s. So he's coming in with decent form. He doesn't do anything particularly well, but for $6,400, you're not looking for him to go win the event. You're looking for him to go out there, play his game. I think he has 9 straight rounds in the 60s, something like that. So you're looking for him to go make the cut. And give it a run if he gets a chance. So it is what it is.
Yeah, my flop this week is Fat Pat Reed. just because of the way, reading your write-up and everything that you, which I lean on a lot, I don't see the course setting up too great for him. And he just doesn't do anything well in my stat model this week for what he is. And I'm just, I don't know if we get talked up or not, so I don't know if that's a real good fade, but he seems to be popular, especially in majors, a little more than normal. So I'm off him this week.
Yeah.
My fade, you nailed it, is that I'm 100% when I have any JT this week. And he sounds like he's going to be the chalk of the century. We'll see. It could be one of those everybody pivots because I think you're pivoting type of – yeah, and then they don't play. But as of now, I have him as the number one owned guy on the board, right up there. Because he's like 9,000, right? I mean, he's a great player. I'm not – especially because he played well last week. I think it helped everybody boost them up in their rankings. And so I'm willing to fade that and just be off of that.
Yeah.
My sleeper, I just said it was Neiman, so I'll keep that short. I love Neiman. Just auto play for me. Auto play, yes. No doubt about it. Rapid fire, here we go. DFS only. Doing a little bit different this week. We got some head-to-heads, and then I'm going to give you some groups, and I want you to rank them in order of best. So first, Brooks or DJ, who would you go?
Oh, man, I would go DJ. I
would too. Which probably makes us all look like idiots because we feel like
yeah.
we fade Brooks, and then we get to the third round, he's like leading, and we're like, well, why do we fade him? But I don't know. I don't have a good feeling for him this week. I don't know why. I just gut feeling. I may change my mind a little bit, but we'll see. But I'd go DJ. Rose or Fleetwood?
Rose for sure, 100%.
Rose for me, but where do you think Fleetwood's going to get talked up this week?
I do like Fleetwood, but I think Rose is on a whole nother planet right now comparatively. But at Fleetwood's price,
does he go under the radar at 9,700?
I think so, because you got Justin Rose right above him, Tiger right above him, Francisco, who's the man, and then you have Xander, who everybody's talking up again. So I do think Fleetwood goes a little under-owned for sure.
Yeah, and I may just let my bet on Xander roll, but I think Fleetwood could be one of those guys I talked about earlier where he's a low-owned guy, just plug in.
Yeah, for sure.
And hope, and just take the chance. These three guys rank them best to worst, DFS only, JT, DeChambeau, and Ricky Fowler.
DeChambeau, clear number one for me. Then Fowler, love the way that he can drive the ball. I love the way he plays open courses. And then JT, obviously, he's my fave this week, so he's going to be the third.
I agree with all that. Fowler was close for me. He did not look great last week, so I think he's going to – but he always is popular, so I'd go DeChambeau slightly over Fowler, and then obviously JT was my last. Cantley or Spieth?
I would go Cantley for sure.
I would as well. These five guys who are all right there in the same price, I think it's going to be a big decision this week. Day, Cooch, Matsu, Scott, and Stinson.
Day, Cooch, Matsu, Scott, Stinson. I think you have them exactly backwards. So I would go Stenson number one, Scott number two, Matsu number three. Cooch and Day's a toss-up. I think Day has a much higher upside, but his driving here concerns me. But I would go Cooch then Day.
Yeah, I have stars by Day that I want to watch his pressers. I want to watch if he's talking about using a lot of, like you talked about, irons. If he puts himself in play, we know his short.
He's good.
Yeah.
If he's in play all day, if he hits 70% of his fairways, which is a high number,
yeah,
he's going to be top 10
right.
for sure.
Somewhat, he's starred for me, but Stinson's one, Matsu two, and they're real close for me. Then Scott. Then I go Day, then Cooch. I think Cooch is going to be popular like he is at most. He played well last week. I know a lot of people jumped on some good numbers betting-wise. So that's the reason why I kind of go that route.
Yeah.
Probably a big segment for us this week before we get into betting and we wrap this thing up. But roundtable, there's so many guys that we didn't hit on. Obviously, that's why it's invaluable to be a member. You get so much content every day, several times a day. Then Wednesdays are as good as it gets in Cubs Corner between the Slack and E9 and everything else. And this week we'll be live all the way up till first tee. I will be up until, I know Buck said he will as well.
Yep.
So I'll be building in Slack, giving last minute advice. But as of now, who's 3 or 4 guys we really didn't talk much about that you still have your eye on, or just completely off?
I'll just mention a few guys under 7K that I think are value this week. Andrew Putnam 6,600, Lucas Glover 6,500, Ryan Palmer 6,500. Paul Waring is a Euro guy that's 6,600, and he has 3 top 20s, couple top 10s in his last 5 events. So coming in playing well. Adriano, another guy, 6,600 Euro guy, but he has 2 straight top 15s. Been playing really well. And then Jazz is a fantastic player, $6,600. He's from Thailand. He came in 14th at the PGA Championship, but in his last 5 events, he has 4 top 25s. So dude's a baller, and $6,600 represents value there. And I already mentioned Putnam at 6,600 is another one of those like free space kind of guys for me.
What about our first ever 6-star killer, Hao Tong Lee?
F that guy. I will never play him ever again.
he crushed our soul. It was at the British Open too. That's why I brought him up. He's a good links player. He's on my radar.
He's a very, very good links player. When you look at like his Euro stats, he's 5th on tour in stroke average, 1st in birdies. He does make quite a few bogeys, but when you look at his scoring, really, really good. When you look at his driving, it's really good. When you look at his approach, that's where he falls off the radar for me. He's 200th on the Euro Tour in greens and regulation.
Yeah, and he has a 3rd at Birkdale, which is when we had him on a 6-star on a Sunday, and he shot like 7 under or something crazy.
Yeah.
And then T39 last year at Carnoustie. So good history so far, 2 British Opens. Xander was a guy I had written down that I'm interested to see where the industry goes. I don't mind playing him, but if he's going to be, the 18-20%, yeah, he's got great history, good form. Burick's a guy that is in play for me if we start getting closer to that -5, 6 under wins it type deal. Kisner as well, Willett as well. These are all guys that if this thing's at 5 to 8 under prediction, those are guys that come into my pool because I think they're solid. I think they stay in play, they grind, and can make that kind of tournament. They're not guys I see going 14, 15, 16 under. So those are guys I'll be deciding on as we get closer to the tournament. Abraham Answer, great driver of the golf ball. I think that matters this week. He missed a cut last year, but I'm glad that he at least has some experience in there.
Yeah.
Ryan Moore, another guy that we know. I mean, he was brutal miscut, then just fell. He played good last week, which was a good play for me in DraftKings, but then he just fell off Sunday. I think he shot it even or 1 under, but back to where you go back. He can hit the fairways, stay in play, be safe if we're in that mold. Snedeker's another guy I'll keep my eye on depending on score, but not real heavy there. Those were kind of the names. The only name that sits up top that I don't know if either one of us really mentioned much of. What is your thoughts on Mr. John Rahm?
I like Rahm. You can't not like Rahm. He's just – I'm going to be 100% of Rory, so I'm not going to be able to touch him.
Yep. Betting. Obviously – so obviously with majors, I try to release some futures if I see good value. In December, I released Cantley at 66 to 1. I released Xander at 66 to 1, which now is just massive value compared to the market. Last week, I released RCB 66 to 1, and 2 weeks ago, I jumped on Day at 33 to 1 because I felt like it was good value. And other than his putting, his game was looking really good. And so because I have him there, I may be able to fade the DK and just say, well, if he wins, I at least get, I'm going to have it good. So 40 to 1 or better, who's popping for you?
Henrik Stenson at 30, Adam Scott at 28, and Justin Rose at 23.
Yeah, I'm, obviously, I have people DM me all the time. If you have one of those guys I've already released and you have a different number now, obviously, like Cantley, I'd still be on at 33. Xander, I would not be on at 22.
No.
If you have different numbers and you want to shoot me a message, be a little patient as I am kind of traveling and crazy right now, but I will answer every DM before an hour before tee off Wednesday, as I always do. I catch up. So if I had a blank slate, and that's how I like to look at this. Some guys are so new to us, they don't have it. I like Stinson, like you said. I like DeChambeau. And then right at the 40 number, I would take Matsu or Casey. I like them both right now.
Yeah.
I'll lead off the next area. I like Leishman, especially if we got a nasty, windy type projections. Maybe McDowell at 55. RCB still 66, so I would be on that. And then Willett, if I'm in that lower range, 80 to 1's a good number for him if we can get a nastier deal. Who do you like in that range?
45, I really like Bryson. And then at 75, I like Simpson, but that's it.
Deep, I kind of like Hal Tong at 100. I think he's, for the value, I think it's good. Possibly Kisner if we get the right kind of tournament. Peters is always a crapshoot, but I don't mind him at 100. And that's probably it until I go above 125. What else? What do you like right in there up to 125?
Yeah, I mean, geez. There's nobody here that I'm going to be putting money on because anybody that I like, I'll have on DK anyways. But maybe Bradley, but I'm seeing a 150. But maybe Bradley.
I'm going to take a few darts. I'm going to be heavy loaded because I already got 4 locked in. And, I'll have a couple more. And really, I'll be honest with you, I'm waiting on what I want to do with DJ. I think 16 to 1 for him at some places you can get 61 is tremendous value for that kind of player. And if I go DJ, it pretty much locks my card up. I have DJ and then what I have now and then maybe a long shot or two. I like, some of these guys don't have odds yet because they just got added. So, be sure to be in the E9. Obviously, I'll update my card in full tonight or tomorrow. But, Griot at 150's, intriguing. Thorborn, maybe. But Fratelli got added. I'm interested to see what his number is. I know it's hard to go back-to-back, but if he's got a pretty good number, I don't mind going there. And there's really, I may take a couple really long shots as I wait for the weather. I think the weather's going to matter some, especially first-round leader, to see how I make my bets from here on out. Any dark shots for you, or that pretty much it?
I'm sure there will be, but I got to dig into it. I mean, you got guys like Ryan Palmer down here. You got guys like Jazz that I mentioned. You got guys like Andrew Putnam all at like 250, 200, something like that. So
and Neiman, I don't know if Neiman's number's out yet. It wasn't when I pulled these the other day.
Let me see.
I haven't looked live, but
Neiman
I would be
like 150.
Yeah, I mean, Neiman's a bet. That's my free play of the day. You can lock that in. And so, I'm betting him at 150 all day.
Yeah.
So, one and done. Obviously, we're in the final segment. It's tight. We got some big, I've got all 3 of mine can literally get in the 200. 2 of them for sure are right there. One's already inside 200. I believe JB can 300 get paid for the whole season version. I'm not sure on the segment, but top 300 for sure. I know you have one in the sweat. It's not this one because we both use our number 1, but
I'm 230 in the one.
Last week you had Wolf.
Yep.
24K for 3.58 million. I had Neiman. I got 133K. I'm at 7.25. Kick us off with your one and done, as I did not even look yet.
Rose.
So go ahead.
Be on Rose.
Wow, you got Rose out there. That's
yeah, boy.
That's an impressive save. I've heard some people have like Brooks and all that, which I think is great. I think that's a good. I mean, they're gonna have massive leverage. I think I saw someone, and may even been JB, tweet out like the people up top, how many like Brooks, Rory, how many were even out there out of the guys that are up in contention, and there's most of them have been used.
I'm top 15 with 2 of my 3 entries in the segment, so I got a segment chance.
Oh, there you go. It was who?
Artie.
Yeah, Artie. Yep. Check him out. I'm sure we retweeted. You can check out or look for Artie yourself. He put out the kind of. But our leaderboard has it, so in this type of deal, especially with so few tournaments left, I would go research how many guys who've been used. And then also there's only like 7 tournaments left in the whole deal. So I'd start planning out where you're going to be. I am going to use, and I don't know if I've used them this one. If I have, I would change it. I don't think I have. Real quick. Casey, Matt. Look, why don't you give us, what is your final thoughts leading on the week as we head in?
So my final thoughts are a couple things real quick. Number one is it's really easy to get wrapped up in betting and DK and gambling and letting that dictate how you view a golf tournament, how you enjoy watching the event. And I mentioned it in Slack earlier, like I'm not going to go super heavy this week because I really do want to sit back and enjoy the golf course. This is the first time that the British Open has not been played in Britain or England or Scotland in like 60 some years, since 1951. And they're going back to a course that really is phenomenal. And so I really just want to enjoy the golf, watch how they play the golf course. The Open is different than most because there's so many different ways that you can play these golf courses and use the ground to your advantage. So I really just want everybody to be able to enjoy the golf tournament, watch the course, see where these guys are hitting it, see the undulations, that kind of thing. Secondly, and this is important, a massive, massive shout out to all of the Gups Corner, not only partners, but community members' wives or significant others. We have had a lot of people over the last few weeks who listen to our podcast and watch us live with their families. And it really is special. It's touching. And not only that, but everybody watching this knows how much we grind. We know how much you guys grind on your own, putting effort into these events to hopefully make some life-changing money. And none of that would be possible without your significant other. And I can't thank my wife enough for supporting me in the time. And I know, Gup, you feel the same way about Rachel, JB, you feel the same way. And so I think it's really important to give a big shout out to all of the wives, the partners, the significant others, to all of the community members. A big shout out to Todd and Jen. I know you've been watching live a few weeks. If you're out there watching live now, thank you very much. We truly appreciate the support. And yeah, just enjoy the week. It's going to be a great one.
Yeah, I'm going Benny on for my one and done to get that out of the way. I'm going to go with a little bit of a flyer. I've obviously used a lot of the high up guys, and I think I think you could top 10 this thing, and that would be huge for leverage play with this one. As always, join us Wednesday night. We will probably go live at 7 or 7:30 Eastern Wednesday. We normally go at 9 o'clock, but it locks at, is it midnight Bucks Eastern or 1? 1 Eastern, it locks because the British, if you're not familiar, which would be shocking, it locks early because obviously time difference. So we'll probably plan for 7 or 7:30. I'll tweet that out, the final, once I confirm with the partners, because we all will try to be there. Some may come in late. We'll start it the best we can and roll. It's a special time just because of the tournament. As always, you can join Gups Corner. If you're not a member, now's the week to join it. Use the code PORTRUSH, and you get 25% off any package but the weekly. So it has to be the monthly or annual. It's $14.99 a month, $119.99 a year. So full year, 365 days. If you want to try the weekly out, it's $4.99, but the code does not apply. So you might as well do the monthly. It gets you through the entire golf season, rolls into football. I do the yearly for the 25% off. So I will tell you, we'll do one more 25% off with NFL kickoff week, and that'll be it for the year. So this is the next to last, but it's the best time because you get the rest of the golf season to use your 25% off. So Port Rush is that code. I believe that's right. If I mess that up, let me know, JB. For me, it's been a, you're right. You're dead right. It's funny that out of a couple guys, so we've stopped using as much cuss words. We talked about this on this one. The Wednesday night one's behind a private wall. We kind of unbutton our shirts, if you will, our collars, and get a little loose there, have a little fun. But Wednesday nights we've kind of toned it down because we have had a lot of people that say they do watch with wives and families, and that's fine. And we respect that. And so, and my kids now, which they're watching now, hi Carter, hi Madden, they know how to search this stuff now. And once my son was watching me live and I didn't know it, I had to put money in this old swear jar because you can't. We try not to, obviously don't want to teach them cussing and stuff that young, but with them being able to find it and everything, but they can't find the private one, we tone it down on Mondays. But obviously with my real job and this, I wouldn't be anywhere without Rachel. You all know that. You've all met her and know that she's a rock behind all of Gup's Corner. Everybody loves Mama Gup, so very special there. The big deal for me this week is just, you're right. It's kind of similar. You said that was, this is a unique tournament. It is very, very, very close to the Masters. It's a 1A, 1B. It's not second. It is a 1B as my favorite tournament of the year. Obviously, nothing beats the tradition of Augusta and the Masters. And having gone 2 years ago, it really put it up there. But I love this tournament. I love the uniqueness of the courses, the time. It's just different, right? It's something different for the year, and it's really fun. And I enjoy watching the British Open every year. Sunday morning, I get up early and watch it all morning, and it's just a tremendous time. And you're right. Enjoy the process. We had some new members last week. Started off a little rocky with the start of the DK week, but that's why everything happens for a reason. We get to the end of the week and we hit an 80-1 winner, right? And so, the new guys were, if you're joining this because you want a quick buck or to make money in a week or two, you're in the wrong. Don't join. This isn't what we're about. We're about teaching bankroll management, teaching the process. We're a family. We love our family. Everybody in there's a family. I had to call the dogs off by the time I picked up on the guys' comments on Slack because the community went after them quick, which I respect. I liked it. But we're also, as I said last week, not about bullying. But if you're coming in here trying to make money in 2 weeks and you think things are guaranteed, it's not happening. Yeah, the last 2 weeks have been great. We had 125-1 and an 80-1 winner, but it doesn't mean it's guaranteed. So we don't want those kind of members. That's not what we're about. We're about everything else we preach. I'm excited for the week. I got to get out of here, but we are going to be loaded with content the next 48 hours. Now's the time to join. Best time, the lowest price it'll be all year. We'll do one more kickoff for football, but as far as getting the golf in, this is the best time you can buy it. If you have any questions, DM us. We'll get back to you. You can email support@gupscorner.com if you have questions about the membership, what we offer, what we do. We'll hit you back fairly quickly on that email. Without that, we'll see you 7 o'clock Wednesday night for an early edition of E9, and we'll be ready to roll. See you. Have a good one.
SmashFactor.